What's up YouTube, Barwood here, back again with another video. And I know it's been a while again, but I'm finally back and I want to do a little preview on Bayern Barca before the game starts tomorrow. I'm gonna try to make this kind of on like a hypothetical idea that I think both teams are gonna go about based on what I've seen in the past couple months from both teams. And I'm gonna try to see like how the game's gonna be played out with the players that are gonna be on the pitch. So let's get right into it. Firstly, before I get into everything, I just want to say that I do not think that Bayern is going to batter Barca like almost everyone thinks that they are. I think that Bayern are basically the favorites because they're on better form going into this game, and that's the only thing that their favorites based up upon, and that's fine. But I do think that Bayern have their issues that people haven't focused on because Barca's issues seem much bigger in grand scheme of things. Barca is expected more out of usually because they have Messi, because they have these superstars that have won forever, and there's things that are expected out of them. So you just constantly expect greatness out of them, and they've obviously hit a roadblock basically this season with not winning the league. So it's always going to be doubts there when it comes to that. First thing I want to mention is the XI that I'm thinking that Barca will play, and I'm really being hopeful here. I think it's going to be Mats, Semedo, Lenglet, Piqué, Alba, Bussy, Vidal, Frankie de Jong, Ricky in that 10 role. Messi and Suarez up top, so Diamond 4-4-2, and Ricky in that 10 role obviously is a new introduction because I would guess most of the neutral fans haven't seen much of him, and they don't know what to expect from them. But I'm being very hopeful on him, and I think he's a guy that can give a whole different dynamic to this team. I'm gonna touch more on that. Also, I do want to say that from what I've seen this season from Setien, he's basically bottled the most important games of the season. Napoli first leg, the XI was horrible, and it did end up sort of costing in the game. Got away very lucky. We could not open Napoli, and they just hurt us on the counter time and time again. Madrid, that game just absolutely embarrassing. The way he managed the game with the subs and the way he went on about it with the XI, and it did end up basically costing us the league. And then Napoli's second leg again got the XI wrong, but it's Messi going off doing his things, and then Piqué and Lenglet having great games. So it's really hard to beat Barcelona at home, but this time it's not going to be at home. It's going to be on neutral ground, which is still a different feeling because the Camp Nou pitch is what the players are so familiar to. It's why they're so great at it. With Bayern, if I'm correct, I believe they're going to be playing with Neuer and then Kimmich right back. I don't know if Pavard's fully out, but that's what I'm thinking. So that's from what I've seen so far. And then I got Boateng, Alaba, Davis in the back line, Thiago and Goretzka in midfield, Muller, Gnabry, Perisic and Lua up top. And I do think that Bayern do usually play 4-2-3-1, and sometimes they drop into 4-3-3 to defend or to build up. It just depends on who they're playing and how they want to build up. And Muller is the guy that drops into midfield, so that's going to be real interesting. It's going to be a mismatch sort of for both teams. So if in my hypothetical XIs, if the game is going to be played out like this, I do give Barca the edge, and here's why. I think that Barca's backline is actually better. I wouldn't say much better because of the two terrible fullbacks that they've got, but I would say that their center backs are better than Bayern's center backs, and they've got the best center back on the pitch and the most influential defender on the pitch almost, basically, and Gerard Piqué, and I do think that he's going to hold his own against Lua and Lenglet. But with Bayern's fullbacks, obviously you got Davis and Kimmich. I'm not big on Pavard, so I'm just going to say if Kimmich plays, he's the guy that's going to be a difference maker. And Davis, obviously, you guys know about him. He's been absolutely amazing this season, and he's just going to run up and down that flank. With Semedo, I do not like Semedo whatsoever. I do think that Setien, the only reason he's going to play him is because he's going to think that you need someone fast, basically, to keep up with Davis, but that's not how it works. You need someone who can think ahead, basically, to hold back Davis and slow him down as much as you can, which I don't think it's even possible with Roberto, but he can be more of a help than Semedo. Roberto's had some great performances against pacey wingers, pacey fullbacks, and two games that come to my mind is Liverpool home last year, absolutely locked up Mane, and then Vinicius, and I believe it was a Copa del Rey game in 2019 as well, which he locked him up after Semedo got skinned by him the game before. And then I do think that Davis and Kimmich or whoever plays, they're going to get their balls no matter what. They're just going to go off no matter what. You can't slow down that team because that's what their whole game plan is based off, and Barca doesn't have the quality to stop them. So there's almost no point to plan for stopping them. I don't see the pragmatic point of view coming in with the setup, but I do see it as a game plan because you're going to try to slow the game down. You don't want to get into Bayern's back and forth game where they're just going to kill you on transition. So I don't think we're going to see a flat 4-4-2 to, let's say, put two players on Davis and Perisic or whoever's going to play that left wing spot. And Semedo's going to get, most likely he's going to get skinned. That's how it works. Semedo is the guy that gets sucked into tackles. He wants to just jump into the ball every time. He just want to tackle everyone, but he's not. That's not really a good idea against pacey wingers and pacey fullbacks. They just throw the ball past you and run past you, especially if Semedo's not the best of tacklers. He's not really smart about his defending. Also, Alba, on the other hand, Alba is, I wouldn't say he's usually a defensive liability, but in Champions League games, he does shit his pants, basically. And another issue with Alba is the fact that he's too short, and Bayern love those crosses, those back post crosses, and Muller, Gnabry, Lua, whoever gets on the end of those against Alba, that's going to be a mismatch. It's almost literally like 2013, so that's going to be real tough to watch if it does happen. So we all know about Bayern's strengths. We obviously know that they're all about wing play. They're about fast-paced games, and they have, from what I've seen, they actually play a really, really high line, and probably the highest line in Europe. And it's obviously, it makes sense to them because you got Davis and Alaba and even Kimmich who are pretty quick, and they can run back and catch up if they have to. And you're going against Suarez, who's not the fastest, obviously. And then Messi's, I would say Messi's lost a yard of pace, but I don't think that a high line against Messi is a really good idea. From what I've seen over the past couple of years, almost every team that's played a high line against Barcelona has suffered. Whether it's in giving up spaces, whether it's in giving up chances, playing a deep block against them kind of slows their game down and makes them have to think about what they're going to do, every move they're going to make, and that makes them doubt everything, and then you can kill them on transition. But if you do play a high line against them, and against the lineup that is going to play, I think that Ricky and Frankie can actually be very, very influential in speeding the game up, finding those spaces for Messi, and even creating for him. So if Bayern do play a high line, I think that's going to be in Barcelona's advantage this time. Also, we got to give a mention to Lua. Obviously, he's been having an insane season with the numbers and everything, but if you watch his goal comp, you see most of his goals come in the air, and they come from one-touch finishes and everything like that. And I do think that that plays a role in how Barcelona is going to defend him. Lenglet and Piqué are both great in the air defensively, and regarding Lua, I think they can slow him down and keep him quiet for the most part, but that's where Muller is going to come in the air, and he's going to be the more dominant force, basically, because of Alba mismatch or whoever's going to be guarding him. Muller is coming from a distance. It's kind of hard to cover those guys if they're coming from deep, if they're coming from a different angle, and they're just rushing at the ball trying to get that header in. But with Lua, you keep him more static. He's going to be more in the box trying to occupy the CBs, so it's easier to lock him up. So I believe that's how Bayern's game is going to be played out. I believe that's their game plan. I do not think Bayern's going to change much. The only thing I see them not really changing, I think they usually do this as well, is when they're attacking, they go 4-2-3-1, and when they defend, they go 4-3-3. And then Muller drops in as basically defends as a midfielder, and I don't think that changes much for them. Regarding Barca, I do believe that Barca have the better midfield and better defense going into this because of the fact that I said Piqué is the best leader in the game, basically, in that game. And I do think that he's going to have an absolutely standout game if he's on it. And the midfield thing, here's the thing. Thiago is a great midfielder, but he's not a guy that's going to absolutely take the game by the throat and dominate Barcelona's midfield, especially if they do play with four midfielders. You got Bussy, you got Vidal, you got Frankie, you got Ricky. Bar Bussy, those other three guys are high energetic midfielders that are going to be on your ass if that's the game plan. And if not, they're really good at defending angles. Vidal, sometimes he gets lost in the game and he starts chasing everything, but I do think that you can keep him motivated, especially because it's against Bayern, to keep him focused basically for as long as he's on the pitch. And Bussy, I think that he's going to be dealing with Muller a lot, and I don't mind that at all. I think Bussy is great at defending angles. I think he's great at defending no matter what. He's really good at cutting off angles, so Muller's not going to be seeing the ball much on the ground, but in the air, obviously, he always has his chances. Now, offensively for Barca, Ricky in that 10 role is the difference maker. In Napoli game, you're basically playing with not three DMs, well, basically two DMs and basically a box-to-box role by Frankie. So Barca, what have they done almost all season is play without interiors, play without a guy that you can pass the ball to between the lines, and he can speed the game up, he can slow it down, he can play one touch to Messi, connect the midfield to the attackers, and that's what Ricky is. That's who he is. He's not usually a 10, he's actually a natural 8, but he can play in that 10 role due to how mature his game looks and how mature his game sees. And if you play four midfielders against two midfielders, and with the quality of midfielders that Barcelona have, you're going to get killed in the possession stats, you're going to get killed in the basically transition. I'm telling you, if Barcelona do try to play on transition with Ricky and Frankie, they're going to get their chances, because Frankie and Ricky are both great ball carriers, and they're very quick with the ball. And I know Goretzka is he's put on muscle weight. Obviously, he's going to try to be like this muscle body guy in the midfield if he does play in there. And if he doesn't, it's going to be Kimmich. I don't think either of them can keep up with Frankie or Ricky. And I don't think Thiago. I know Thiago's great defensively. I know all about Thiago's game. I've watched him for years, but I do not think he's going to have a good game. He's not going to have a good time against Barca because they're going to pack the midfield. Barca's going to pack the midfield defensively against them. And then offensively, you're just going to bombard the midfield, and then it's going to be tough for them. Regarding Messi, Hansi Flick said that he has a game plan on how to stop Messi. I don't know how that's going to work. A lot of coaches have said that as well. But if his plan is to man-mark Messi, that's never going to work. You might try to take him out the game, but you might even succeed in little phases, in like 10-minute phases, 15-minute phases, where he's not going to be able to touch the ball or anything like that. But all that does is create space for other players behind. Maybe if Alaba is the one man marking him, behind Alaba. Maybe if it's Davis man marking him, behind Davis, whoever it is. If it's Thiago marking him, Messi would absolutely skin him because it's a completely different scenario when you're playing with a guy that's his size. So I don't think that man marking Messi is a good idea, and all it does is play to Barcelona's advantage. But if they have any other plan, which is cutting off half spaces or anything like that, then that's where the wings are going to come in. Semedo, who I think is going to play, and Alba, they're going to have to be pushed up. And that's when Bayern can kill Barca in transition. So they're going to have to basically have the games of their lives because Alba isn't a great crosser, and he's probably not going to get many chances to cross. Semedo, I don't know what the fuck he does on the pitch, so I couldn't really tell you. But he does have that pace to get in behind defenders. Might catch Davis out, especially with how many times Davis is going to push up, and might catch him out in those times where Davis is going to have to catch his breath. So we'll see how that works out. So basically where I'm going with this is the fact that Barcelona's midfield is going to be really key for me. I do think that if you play 4-man midfield, FDJ, Vidal, Bussy, and then Ricky at the 10 role, you're going to have a dominant midfield against almost a two-man and a half. I'm not really going to call Muller a midfielder like that because I do not think he can defend like a midfielder. He can't really cut off angles or anything like that. But if you do play that, you're going to have a good time for the most part because you're able to control the game and play at your own pace. Although Bayern are going to have their transition moments, you can't do much against that because of the whack fullback that Barca have. So hopefully for the most part, the game will be played under Barcelona's possession. And you can create against Bayern. That's the thing. People have this misconception of Bayern being a super lethal team, which they are, but that does not mean that they don't have areas of weaknesses. They're not these monsters that the media have gassed up just because of 30 wins out of the last 33 or anything like that. You can hurt them. And I personally believe that you can hurt them right down the middle. You can hurt them by taking Thiago out the game, whether it's by pressing him, but group pressing him, not man pressing him. And also when attacking, playing around that midfield. You know, with Frankie and Ricky, you got two guys that can carry the ball and you got two guys that can pass. With Vidal, he's most likely going to be used as a decoy. He's going to be running down that middle, trying to occupy Boateng, Alaba, whoever's going to be in that back line. And it gives Messi space behind the 18-yard box, and then it gives Suarez more space to work within the box. So Ricky completely changes the dynamic of this game. That's the thing. You are adding a guy that can take over the midfield, can speed up your attack, can speed up your defense transition. Literally every aspect of Barcelona improves with them. And it's not just the 10 role, it's more about him just being the extra midfielder and bodying Bayern's midfield. And I'm emphasizing on that because I do believe if it does happen, then Ricky will have a sort of a man of the match performance. And you guys might think, why am I underrating Thiago or anything like that? But I'm not really trying to underrate him. I've watched literally Thiago all my life. I've watched him from the moment he stepped on the pitch against Man City, and I believe it was the 2009 Gamper Cup. So I know all about him, and I do think that Thiago has certain weaknesses that haven't been spotted by fans that watch him or anything like that. But there are these moments in possession where he loses focus, he loses concentration, and he gets caught out. Whether that's on the ball, whether that's with his passing, he'll try to dribble out of the pressure moment where you can't just go anywhere. You just have to get rid of the ball. Or he'll play a first time pass that'll be right to the guys that are pressing or anything like that. So these moments can happen if Barca do press. And if they do not press, Thiago won't cut you right down the middle. He might push up a little bit. He might try to play those line breaking passes, but that's not where the hurt's going to come from for Bayern. Bayern are all about their wings. They're going to get the ball to their wingers. They're going to get the ball to their fullbacks. They're going to get those crosses in. With all that being said, I do think that Suarez can have his big day finally tomorrow. I do think that he has a goal in him. I don't know about his performances because you never know what you're going to get with Suarez, but I do think he's highly, highly motivated to show up, and he will be a key guy in this game. Whether that's with getting the goal, getting an assist, or just having the impact that he usually does off the ball. with occupying the center backs, with getting Messi good spots and good spaces to get his shots in, dribble, or anything like that. Anyways guys, I'll most likely do a review after the game. Till later, peace.